Get that screaming kid out of here. This isn't a playground for the elite. The words cut through the hushed elegance like a knife. Sharp and unforgiving, head swiveled, glasses paused mid-sip. The soft piano melody, once sophisticated, now seemed taunting. A billionaire real estate investor sat at the heart of it all, stunned. Not because he missed the jab, but because he had no clue how to stop it. His son, 10-month-old Ethan, was wailing, not whimpering, not softly crying, wailing with a flushed face, tiny fists balled up as if the universe had wronged him. Alexander Whitmore, a man worth billions per the Wall Street Journal, who had sealed mega deals, dominated negotiations, and built empires with a glance, now appeared utterly trapped. His tailored suit hid the sweat beating at his neck. The space brimming with Hollywood stars and Silicon Valley tycoons hummed with disapproval. He attempted it all: a bottle, a toy, and his aide's assistance. Zero success. His evening was unraveling into a social fiasco until she appeared. From behind the ornate partition dividing the dining area from the kitchen, a young black waitress emerged. Simple braid, spotless sneakers, crisp apron, and eyes that held steady. "Let me try," she said softly. The manager frowned, whispering about rules. Alexander barely looked up. He just nodded. Out of choices, out of ego. She neared, arms extended, voice gentle like a melody, and in moments, quiet. Not the uneasy sort, not the strained sort. The sort of quiet that brings calm. The sort of wealth can't be purchased. Some gaped in shock. Others murmured, astonished that the one deemed insignificant had just become essential. This wasn't merely an instant. It was the dawn of something profound. A tale not of riches, but of compassion. Not of chaos, but of empathy. This is a black story worth cherishing. And you'll want to stick around to the end because what unfolded next transformed far more than one evening. If this resonates, hit subscribe, share where you're watching from, and what time it is there. The chandelier lights shimmered like diamonds on steroids, casting a golden haze over La Belle Epoque's polished marble floors and velvet booths. This was LA's playground for the big shots. Hollywood A-listers nursing overpriced Bordeaux, Silicon Valley tech bros sealing deals over foie gras. The air hummed with low chatter, clinking silverware, and that soft jazz riff from a hidden speaker, the kind that screamed, "You're somebody if you're here." But tonight, all that fancy vibe cracked wide open when a baby's wail pierced the room like a fire alarm no one could shut off. Alexander Whitmore gripped the edge of his table, knuckles white against the crisp white linen. He was the guy who turned rundown blocks into billion-dollar high-rises, the one Wall Street Journal called the king of concrete empires. Tall, broad-shouldered, with salt and pepper hair slicked back just right, and a bespoke suit that cost more than most people's cars. But right now, he looked like a rookie dad drowning in quicksand. His 10-month-old son, Ethan, squirmed in the high chair, face tomato red, tiny fists pounding the air. The cries started as a fuss during the appetizer. Maybe the lights were too bright, or the room too stuffy, but now it was full throttle, a raw, gut-wrenching scream that echoed off the walls. "Come on, buddy, easy now," Alexander muttered, shoving a bottle toward Ethan's mouth for the third time. The kid batted it away, arching his back like he was possessed. Alexander's assistant, Mia, hovered nearby, her phone in hand, scrolling through some baby-soothing app. "Try the white noise track again," she whispered, but even that got drowned out. Heads turned. A couple at the next table exchanged glances. The woman in a slinky red dress rolled her eyes while her date sighed loud enough to be heard. "Some people shouldn't bring kids to places like this," the guy grumbled, just audible over the din. Alexander felt the heat crawl up his neck, sweat dampening his collar. This was supposed to be a win, a night out to prove he could handle it all after Sarah's accident 3 months back. Hit and run on the 405, gone in a blink. He'd buried himself in work since then, mergers and acquisitions keeping the grief at bay. But Ethan? The kid was a walking reminder, and tonight was Alexander's first stab at normal. Fat chance. He bounced Ethan on his knee, whispering nonsense like, "It's okay, we're good." But the cries ramped up, turning heads into stares. A server zipped by without a glance, and Alexander caught a whiff of judgment from the bar. Some producer type shaking his head, mouthing, "Control your kid," to his buddies. Across the room, Nia Washington weaved through the tables, balancing a tray of escargot and champagne flutes like it was no big deal. At 24, she was the picture of hustle. Braid pulled back tight, uniform spotless, sneakers quiet on the floor. South LA born and raised, where rent ate half your paycheck and dreams got deferred. By day, she hit the books at UCLA, digging into sociology classes on inequality and systemic BS. Nights? This gig paid the bills. Tuition, her grandma's meds, the leaky roof back home. She didn't love slinging fancy French grub to folks who barely saw her, but it beat flipping burgers. Nia set down the plates at table 6, flashing her practice smile. "Enjoy, folks." The group, 3 white execs in sharp suits, nodded without looking up, one guy waving her off mid-sentence like she was background noise. It stung, that invisibility, the way they assumed she was just the help. Not the first time. She'd caught the side eyes when she started 6 months ago, the whispers about diversity hires from the kitchen staff. Her manager, Greg, always preached blend in, code for don't rock the boat. Nia bit her tongue, pocketed the tip, usually slim from tables like this, and moved on. But tonight the air felt thicker, like everyone was on edge. Ethan's screams hit a new pitch, rattling the crystal glasses. Alexander stood now, pacing a tight circle by the table. Ethan clutched to his chest. "Shh, come on, little man." His voice cracked just a hair, the exhaustion showing in his bloodshot eyes. Mia tried a toy rattle. Nada. Customers shifted, a few asking to be reseated. The jazz kept playing, mocking the chaos. Alexander locked eyes with a nearby diner, who just frowned and looked away. This wasn't just embarrassing. It was unraveling him, piece by piece. Nia paused by the kitchen door, tray empty, wiping her hands on her apron. She scanned the room, spotting the dad in the suit, his face a mask of desperation. Not the cocky billionaire vibe she'd clocked when he walked in. No, this was raw, like a guy one wrong move from breaking. Ethan's cries tugged at her, reminding her of those nights back home, soothing neighbor kids while their moms pulled doubles. But she stayed put, knowing her place in this joint. Cross that line, and Greg would have her head. The storm built, silent judgments swirling with the screams. Alexander sank back into his chair, defeated as the room's elegance fractured around him. Nia pushed through the swinging kitchen doors, the heat from the stoves hitting her like a slap. Her tray was loaded again, steaks sizzling under garnishes, sides of truffle fries that cost more than her hourly wage. Table 8 was up next, the one with the loudmouth Hollywood types. She squared her shoulders, forcing that server smile, the one that said, "I'm fine," even when her gut twisted. The room's vibe had soured further, Ethan's cries now a nonstop siren bouncing off the high ceilings. But Nia tuned it out, focusing on the job. One foot in front of the other. Girl. She approached the table, setting down the plates with precision. "Medium rare for you, sir, and the ribeye well done." The group barely glanced up. 4 guys in flashy shirts, Rolexes glinting under the lights. The ringleader, a grizzled director in his 60s with a diamond ring that screamed, "I made blockbusters," leaned back, eyeing her like she was part of the decor. His name was Harlan Voss, the kind of name that popped up in Variety headlines. But to Nia, he was just another entitled jerk. As she bent to pick up a dropped napkin, damn things always slipping, Harlan chuckled, loud enough for the table, but pitched for her ears. "Look at this one, boys. Bet she's the quota hire. Gotta check that diversity box to keep the lawsuits off our backs, right?" His buddies snickered, one sipping his scotch without missing a beat. Nia froze mid-reach, her fingers brushing the floor. It wasn't the first dig she'd heard, but tonight it landed like a punch. Quota hire? Like she hadn't busted her ass through interviews. Like her psych classes at UCLA didn't mean squat. She straightened slowly, spine rigid, face neutral. But inside, her chest burned. "Anything else I can get for you?" Her voice stayed even, pro as hell. Harlan waved a hand, smirking. "Nah, sweetheart. Just smile more." Those pearly whites are a nice touch. You folks always got that going for you. The table erupted in that fake-ass laughter, the kind dudes use to bond over BS. One guy added, "Yeah, light up the room." Nia's throat tightened, a hot lump forming. She felt their eyes on her, sizing her up like she was the entertainment. No one at nearby tables batted an eye, too busy with their own worlds. And Greg, the manager, he hovered by the bar catching the whole thing, but just shook his head and turned away, polishing a glass like nothing happened. Nia pivoted on her heel, marching back to the kitchen. Her hands shook as she dumped the tray, gripping the counter edge until her knuckles ached. Tears pricked her eyes, not full-on crying, but that sting you swallow down. How many times? The comments, the stares, the "can I speak to the manager" looks. It wasn't new, but damn, it piled up. Her mom used to say, "Hold your head high, baby," even when they try to knock it down. But Mom wasn't here anymore. Lost to that ER wait, dismissed because her insurance sucked. Nia wiped her face quickly and fixed her braid in the reflection of a stainless steel fridge. Dignity didn't wait for backup. You carried it. Out in the dining room, Ethan's wails cranked up another notch. Alexander rocked him desperately, sweat now visible on his brow. "Mia, try the pacifier again. Hell, anything." His assistant fumbled with her bag, pulling out a stuffed elephant that squeaked. Ethan swatted it away, his little body rigid with fury. The cries deepened, raw and piercing, like the kid was unloading all the world's crap. Alexander's face flushed, his usual boardroom cool shattered. Customers grumbled louder now. A starlet in sequins huffed, "This is ridiculous," while her date flagged a server for the check. Alexander tried hoisting Ethan higher, murmuring, "Buddy, please, Daddy's got you." But the kid's screams drowned him out, turning the jazz into white noise. A guy in a booth nearby let out a sharp, "Jesus, take him outside." Alexander shot him a glare, but inside shame boiled. This was his nightmare, exposed, failing in public. Sarah would have known what to do. She'd have that magic touch, but she was gone, and he was floundering, every failed attempt twisting the knife deeper. The room pulsed with tension, whispers spreading like wildfire. Nia emerged from the kitchen, catching Greg's eye. He mouthed, "Stay clear," nodding toward Alexander's table. But the cries pulled at her, as that dad looked like he was one breakdown away. Still, she stuck to her section, dodging the chaos. Harlan's table laughed again, toasting their steaks, oblivious or just assholes. Ethan's howls peaked, rattling nerves. Alexander slumped, defeated, as the prejudice and panic collided in the air, thick and unforgiving. Nia's pulse hammered in her ears as she stepped out from the kitchen, the sting from Harlan's words still fresh like a slap that wouldn't fade. She scanned the room, dodging a busboy with a stack of plates, her sneakers squeaking faintly on the tile. Ethan's screams had hit a fever pitch now, a relentless wave crashing over the murmurs and clinks. Tables shifted uneasily, folks whispering, forks hovering mid-bite. But Nia's eyes locked on Alexander, the big-shot dad, crumbling in real time, his shoulders hunched, face slick with sweat, bouncing the kid like a man clutching a live grenade. It wasn't pity that tugged at her. It was that raw desperation in his eyes, the kind she'd seen in her own mirror after Mom's funeral. Screw the rules. Something snapped. Greg caught her mid-stride from the bar, his face pinching like he'd sucked a lemon. "Nia, that's not your section. Stay out of it. This is Whitmore. We can't afford drama." His whisper hissed, eyes darting to the chaos. She paused, heart thudding, knowing one wrong move could cost her the gig. Bills piled up at home, UCLA tuition looming like a storm cloud. But Ethan's wails pierced deeper, echoing those nights she'd rocked neighbor kids through their parents' fights. "Just let me try," she muttered back, brushing past him. Greg's hand grazed her arm, warning, not force. But she shook it off, weaving through the tables like she'd done 100 shifts. Alexander didn't notice her at first, too busy murmuring into Ethan's ear, "Come on, champ, give me a break." The kid's face twisted purple, fists flailing, screams shredding the air. Mia, the assistant, hovered uselessly, phone in hand, scrolling playlists. "Try ocean sounds," she suggested weakly. Alexander shot her a look that could curdle milk. The room's judgment thickened. A starlet nearby plugged her ears with manicured fingers, her date muttering, "Some dad, huh?" Harlan's table chuckled from afar. One guy quipping, "Money can't buy quiet, apparently." Nia stopped a few feet away, close enough to feel the heat radiating off the high chair. Ethan's eyes, wide and panicked, met hers for a split second. "Let me try," she said softly, voice cutting through the noise like a calm anchor. Alexander looked up, startled, his billionaire mask cracking further. No arrogance, just a guy at rock bottom. Greg stiffened across the room, mouthing "No!" furiously. But Alexander nodded once, sharp and desperate, handing over the squirming bundle without a word. Out of options, ego in the trash. She knelt slowly, arms open, no rush. Ethan lunged instinctively, his tiny body rigid against her chest. Nia wrapped him close, one hand on his back, feeling the frantic heartbeat sync with hers. Breathe in, out, slow, steady, like Mom taught her with those foster kids. No coups, no gimmicks, just presence. Her rhythm pulling him in. Seconds ticked, 5, 10, and the screams faltered, turning to hiccups, then nothing. Silence slammed down, thick and holy, like the room exhaled all at once. Forks froze. Conversations died mid-word. The jazz looped on, suddenly too loud in the hush. Alexander stared, jaw slack, like he'd witnessed a miracle. Mia's phone slipped from her fingers, clattering softly. Whispers erupted, soft at first, then buzzing. A couple in the corner exchanged wide-eyed glances, the woman murmuring, "How'd she do that?" But not all warm fuzzies. Harlan leaned back, smirking to his crew. "Figures. The help always knows how to handle street kids." His voice carried just enough, laced with that oily prejudice, drawing uneasy chuckles from his table. A Botoxed exec nearby whispered to her husband, "Must have been a nanny gig before this. That touch screams experience, or something." Nia ignored it all, her focus laser sharp on Ethan. His head nestled into her shoulder, breaths evening out, tiny fingers clutching her apron like a lifeline. She rocked gently, pat on his back, the weight familiar and grounding. This wasn't about proving a point. It was instinct, pure and simple, the kind honed from summers at orphan camps, holding kids through their worst. Greg stood frozen by the bar, face pale, lips pressed thin. He knew this flipped the script, whether he liked it or not. The silence stretched, reverent almost, as eyes bored into her. A black waitress cradling a white billionaire's kid like her own. Some faces softened, touched, others twisted, uncomfortable with the flip. Harlan muttered louder. Of course, they calmed down for her type. But Nia didn't flinch, didn't gloat. She just held on, because sometimes showing up was the real power move. Alexander slumped in his leather armchair, the penthouse lights dimmed low, overlooking the twinkling sprawl of Beverly Hills. Ethan finally conked out in the crib, his tiny chest rising steadily after the restaurant meltdown. But Alexander's mind raced, replaying that silence like a loop, the way Nia's hold turned chaos to calm in seconds flat. He swirled his scotch, ice clinking, staring at his phone. Who was she? Not just some server. That touch screamed experience, the kind you earned the hard way. He couldn't shake it. Her steady eyes, no fuss, just results. By 2 a.m., he dialed Greg, the manager, his voice gravelly from lack of sleep. "I need info on that waitress, the one who helped with my kid." Greg's line crackled, hesitant. "Mr. Whitmore, we don't usually hand out employee details. Privacy policy and all." Alexander leaned forward, grip tightening on the glass. "Cut the crap, Greg. You know who I am. One call to your owners, and this chat gets real uncomfortable." Silence stretched, then a sigh. "Fine. Her name's Nia Washington. 24 part-time while hitting UCLA for sociology. Solid worker, but she's our diversity push. Came from South LA, tough spot," Alexander pressed. "And the kid thing? That wasn't luck," Greg hemmed. "Look, I don't pry, but word is, her mom was a nurse and died from COVID complications a couple of years back. Waited forever in the ER. Bad insurance. Got bumped for folks with better coverage. Nia picked up tricks from her, volunteering at orphan camps, dealing with traumatized kids. That's all I got. Don't make this blow back on me. Alexander hung up, the words sinking in like lead. Mom dead from a system screw-up? He pictured Sarah's wreck, the screech of tires on the freeway, cops saying, hit and run, no leads. Grief hit fresh, a gut punch. He scrolled Nia's name online, piecing bits. A UCLA profile, volunteer gigs at local shelters, no fluff, just grit. By dawn, Ethan stirred, fussing again. Alexander tried the rock and breathe trick he'd seen her do. Clumsy, but it worked a bit. Damn, she had the magic. He grabbed his phone, texting Mia. Track her down. I need to talk. Nia crashed on her lumpy couch in the cramped South LA apartment, roommates snoring in the next room. Her shift had dragged after the baby drama. Tips decent, but Harlan's crew stiffed her, their smirks burning. She scrolled TikTok mindlessly, but her thoughts looped back to Ethan, that warm weight against her chest. Felt right, like Mom's old stories of holding scared kids through the night. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. This is Alexander Whitmore. From La Belle last night. Can we meet? Coffee, my treat. Her heart skipped. The billionaire? What the hell? She typed back quickly. Sure. When? Neutral spot, her call. A diner off campus, nothing fancy. They met at noon. The place buzzing with students slamming laptops and waitresses hollering orders. Alexander showed up solo. No suit this time. Jeans buttoned down, looking almost human with bags under his eyes. He slid into the booth, awkward as hell. Thanks for coming. What you did last night? Saved my ass. Nia stirred her coffee, eyes steady. No biggie. Kids sense when you're real with them. He nodded, fumbling. Greg mentioned your mom. Nurse, right? COVID. Her jaw tightened, but she didn't dodge. Yeah. Worked community clinics. Always pulling extras. Got sick. Waited 6 hours in ER because her plans sucked. Rich folks jumped the line. By the time they saw her, it was too late. She swallowed hard, fingers tracing the mug rim. Taught me everything. How to hold a kid through panic. Breathe 'em calm. Did summers at grief camps? Kids who'd lost parents to crap like that? Alexander's face softened, grief flashing raw. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. The system failing like that. He paused, staring at his hands. My wife, Sarah, 3 months ago, hit and run on the 405. Lawyer, sharp as a tack. Left me with Ethan and I suck at this dad stuff. Work buried the pain. But last night, exposed. His voice cracked, knuckles white. Nia met his gaze. No pity, just real. Loss doesn't play fair. Hits everyone differently. But kids, they just need someone steady. He nodded slowly, the air thick with that shared ache. Worlds apart, but pain bridging the gap. You got that steady thing down. How'd you learn? She shrugged. Mom, and life. South LA teaches you to roll with punches. They talked haltingly, words tumbling awkwardly at first. Him admitting boardrooms felt easier than bedtime, her sharing camp stories of kids finding their footing. No easy laughs, just nods and silences that said plenty. As they wrapped, Alexander slid a card. If you ever need anything, Nia pocketed it, standing. Thanks. Take care of that boy. He watched her go, the echo of her calm lingering, stirring something he hadn't felt in months. Connection, raw and unscripted. Alexander paced the penthouse living room, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the LA skyline like a billion-dollar postcard. Ethan cooed from his playmat, batting at a rattle, but Alexander's mind was elsewhere. Nia's card burning a hole in his wallet since their diner chat. She wasn't just a fix, she was the real deal, the kind of steady he needed for his kid. Screw the nannies his HR folks pushed, rich girls with degrees but zero grit. He grabbed his phone, dialing her directly. Nia? Alexander. Look, no BS, come work for me. Full-time caregiver for Ethan. Double your current pay, health insurance that actually covers crap, and I'll foot your UCLA tuition. Flexible hours, whatever you need. Silence hung heavy on the line. That's generous, but why me? He exhaled sharply. Because you saw him. Not the noise, the kid. I need that. Nia hung up, staring at her cracked phone screen in the dim apartment light. Double pay? Tuition covered? It sounded like a trap, the kind rich folks dangled to own you. She paced the tiny space, roommates out, the AC humming weakly against the heat. Her gut twisted. Mom's grave came to mind, that quiet spot in Inglewood Cemetery where she'd spill her guts. She grabbed her keys, hopping the bus crosstown. Kneeling by the headstone, grass tickling her knees, she whispered, "Mom, this guy's loaded. Lost his wife like we lost you. Ethan's got that same hollow look those camp kids had. But leaving the restaurant feels like selling out." Wind rustled the leaves, no answer, but peace settled slowly, helping one kid beat slinging plates any day. By nightfall, she texted back, "Okay, when do I start?" 2 days later, Nia rolled her suitcase into the Beverly Hills lobby, sneakers scuffing the marble. The doorman eyed her, but she flashed the key card. Alexander slipped her. The elevator whooshed up, doors opening to a sleek pad. White walls, glass everything, views that screamed money. Alexander met her at the door, Ethan on his hip. No suit this time, just sweats looking rumpled and real. "Welcome. Your room's down the hall. Private bath, the works." He shifted Ethan, who reached chubby hands toward her. Nia scooped him up easily, the kid melting into her shoulder like old times. "Hey, little man." Alexander watched, a flicker of relief cracking his face. Mia stocked the fridge. Anything missing? Say the word. She dove in that first week, rhythm building fast. Mornings. Ethan on her lap, mashed bananas and giggles, Alexander peeking from his home office. "How's he like his oatmeal?" he'd ask, awkward, like a guy learning a new language. Nia showed him, spoon slow, eye contact steady. Watch his cues. Fist clench, he's done. Alexander tried, fumbling at first, banana smears on his shirt, but Ethan's laugh lit him up. Afternoons, park runs in the gated green space below. Nia pushing the stroller, Alexander tagging along when meetings wrapped early. "Never did this before," he admitted once, watching Ethan grab grass. "Work ate everything." Nia nodded, no judgment. "Life sneaks up, but you show up now. That counts." Nap times turned deep, them sipping coffee on the balcony, grief spilling raw. Alexander stared at the hills, voice low. "Sarah pushed for family time, but I blew it off. Deals, travel. Now? Regret's a bitch." His fists clenched, eyes distant. Nia stirred her mug, sharing bits. "Mom worked doubles, but nights? She'd drag in neighbor kids whose folks dipped out. I'd help, holding them through tears. Learned breathing tricks, slow inhales to sink hearts." He tried it with her, and he awkwardly laughed when he messed up. "Like this?" She'd guide, hand on his arm, brief. Trust built brick by brick. No rush, just real talk, bridging the gap. One evening, Ethan fussed post-bath, Alexander floundering with the towel. Nia stepped in, showing the wrap and rock. "See? Close, no squeeze." He copied, Ethan settling fast. "You're a natural," he said, wonder in his tone. Nia shrugged. "Nah, just practice. From mom's shifts, kids left alone, crying for ghosts." Alexander's eyes softened. "You carry that weight well." She met his gaze, warmth flickering. Days blurred into routine. Her hitting online classes from the study, him cutting calls short to floor play with blocks. Ethan crawled to her first, but reached for Dad more each day. The penthouse warmed, toys scattering, laughter echoing off the glass. Nia scrolled her phone in the penthouse kitchen, Ethan napping in the next room, when the notification pinged like a gut punch. TMZ headline screamed, "Black nanny seduces billionaire boss. Love or ladder climbing scheme." Her stomach dropped, coffee turning sour in her mouth. The article twisted everything. Grainy pics from the restaurant night, anonymous sources claiming she worked her magic to snag the gig. Comments flooded, "Typical gold digger," "Playing the race card for a payday." Worse slurs she scrolled past, chest tightening. Who leaked this? She slammed the phone down, hands shaking. South LA roots made her tough, but this felt like a spotlight on every stereotype she'd fought. Alexander burst in from his office, face thunderous, phone glued to his ear. Sue their asses for defamation. Every damn word. He hung up, spotting her pale. Nia, you saw it. She nodded sharply, voice steady but eyes burning. Yeah, feels like high school BS on steroids. He paced, fist clenched. Greg, the manager. Jealous prick lost his diversity star and a VIP tab. Mia traced the tip-off to him. My lawyers are on it. Nia crossed her arms, swallowing the lump. Online's exploding. Racist trolls calling me everything but my name. He stopped, meeting her gaze raw. I'm sorry. This is my world. Vultures circling. But your family now. I got your back. The hate rolled in waves, DMs spewing venom, her UCLA classmates whispering in group chats. Nia holed up, blocking accounts, but the sting lingered, echoing Mom's warnings about crossing lines. Alexander went public that afternoon with a quick interview on a local news spot. Camera lights flared as he leaned in, voice steel. Nia's not just a caregiver. She saved my family. Anyone twisting that into trash? They're the problem. She's the hero here. The clip went viral, some praise rolling in, but the backlash doubled down, trolls tagging her with homewrecker memes. Then came the family bomb. His sister Vanessa, a snooty fashion designer from the Valley, blew up his phone. Alex, what the hell? Hiring some girl from the hood to raise my nephew? I saw the TMZ crap. She's using you. Vanessa stormed the penthouse that evening, designer bag slung like a weapon, heels clicking judgment. Her bob haircut was sharp, eyes narrowing at Nia changing Ethan's diaper. You, from South LA? Please. Ethan deserves better than this. Nia straightened, wiping her hands, fire in her gut. But her voice was cool. Better than what? Someone who actually shows up? Vanessa scoffed. Don't play innocent. I hired a PI. Dug up your record? Arrested at a protest? Radical much? Nia's breath hitched. The mix-up from her teen years, cuffed at a Black Lives Matter march when cops grabbed the wrong crowd. Cleared fast, but stains like that stuck. That was nothing. A mistake. I was standing up for what's right. Vanessa waved a folder, smug. Proof enough. Alex, fire her before she drags you down. Alexander stepped between them, face reddening. Van, back off. That PI crap? Invasive BS. Nia's gold. Ethan lights up around her. Vanessa crossed her arms. You're blind, bro. Grief's messing with you. Nia felt the walls close, doubts creeping. Was this worth it? The stares, the digs. She grabbed her jacket. Maybe I should bounce. Don't need this drama. Alexander blocked the door, eyes pleading. No, stay. We'll hash this family style. He called a sit-down that night, Vanessa reluctant but showing, perched on the couch like it might bite. Ethan toddled in, spotting Nia and beelining for her legs, arms up. Up, up! Nia lifted him, his giggles filling the tension. Alexander knelt, voice firm. See that? That's trust. Nia's taught me more about being a dad than any book. She lost her mom to a raw deal. ER wait because of crap insurance. Sound familiar, Van? Sarah fought those cases. Vanessa shifted, watching Ethan nestle into Nia's shoulder. Fine, but the past... Alexander cut in. We all got baggage. Hers, standing for justice. Yours, judging without facts. He turned to Nia. You're staying. End of. Vanessa huffed, standing. Temporarily, but I'm watching. She stormed out, the door slamming. Nia set Ethan down, knees weak. Thanks for the backup. Almost bolted. Alexander nodded, close now, warmth in his eyes. Couldn't let that happen. You're irreplaceable. The air hummed, trust tested but holding, shadows lingering but pushed back for now. The storm hit hard when Harlan Voss, the slick indie film producer with a rep for stirring trouble, strutted back into La Belle Epoque. Nia was long gone from the restaurant, but that viral clip of her calming Ethan had blown up online, racking millions of views. Harlan, eyes gleaming with opportunist hunger, spotted her in that footage. He slid into her DMs on X, his message dripping with fake charm. Nia, love the vibe, natural star. Got a role for you in my next flick. Gritty drama. Let's make you famous. She read it in the penthouse kitchen, Ethan doodling with crayons nearby. Fame? Nah, this reeked of a publicity stunt. Another rich guy using her for clout. She typed back, short and sharp. Not interested. Good luck. Her gut screamed he wouldn't let it slide. Sure enough, Harlan fired back. A post on X tagged with her handle. Ungrateful server turned nanny snub's legit offer across unprofessional. The tweet exploded. Trolls piling on with venom. Racial slurs. Memes of her as a gold digger. Nia's phone buzzed nonstop, her heart pounding as she muted notifications. Alexander caught her pacing, eyes glued to the screen. What's up? She handed him the phone, jaw tight. That jerk from the restaurant, trying to cash in on me, now throwing shade because I said no. Alexander's face darkened, scrolling through the post. Harlan Voss? That sleaze? He's done. He dialed his assistant, Mia, voice like steel. Get me everyone Voss works with. Producers, financiers, the works. We're shutting this down. Within days, Alexander's network moved like a machine. Calls to studio heads, whispers to investors. Harlan's indie project, already shaky, tanked when backers pulled out. His X account went silent, career teetering. Nia watched from the sidelines, uneasy but relieved. Didn't expect you to go that hard, she told Alexander over coffee, Ethan napping in his stroller. He shrugged, eyes steady. Nobody messes with my people. You're in this with us now. Her chest warmed, but the weight of the online hate lingered, a shadow she couldn't shake. That afternoon, they sat in the penthouse, Ethan stacking blocks on the rug. Alexander broached it first, voice low. You mentioned a dream, helping kids like Ethan, ones who lose too much too soon. Tell me more. Nia leaned back, fingers tracing her mug. A center in South LA, safe spot for kids to process grief, art, music, someone to listen. Like what Mom did, but bigger. Systems broken. Kids fall through. He nodded, wheels turning. I've got a foundation, unused funds sitting. Let's make it real. Your vision, my backing. Her eyes widened, skepticism flickering. You serious? That's big money. He met her gaze, dead on. Dead serious. Ethan's proof you're the real deal. Weeks later, Nia stood at a South LA community center, freshly leased with Alexander's cash. Blueprints spread on a folding table, her sketches for therapy rooms and a garden where kids could breathe. Ethan toddled nearby, chasing a ball, while Alexander scribbled notes, already on calls with contractors. This'll be yours, he said, handing her a pen. Lead it. Nia's throat caught, Mom's face flashing, her nurse's scrubs, her late-night hugs for strays. Didn't expect this, she admitted, sighing. He grinned, rare and real. Didn't expect you either. The final scene unfolded in Griffith Park, sun dipping low, casting gold over the grass. Nia pushed Ethan's stroller, Alexander beside her. No assistants, no suits, just them. Ethan babbled, pointing at a butterfly, and they laughed. The sound light, unforced. Grief still lingered, Sarah's absence in Alexander's quiet pauses, Mom's voice in Nia's soft hums to Ethan, but it wasn't a cage anymore. It was a room they'd learned to live in, together. Nia glanced at him. We're not fixed, you know, just moving. He nodded, eyes on Ethan. Moving's enough. You made that possible. Barriers, race, class, pain, didn't vanish, but they'd cracked wide open. Nia, the South LA girl in sneakers, and Alexander, the billionaire in jeans, walked side by side, Ethan giggling between them, proof that kindness could rebuild what loss tore down. In the end, this story reminds us that true compassion can shatter the walls of race, class, and loss, turning strangers into allies and healing wounds we thought were permanent. It's about showing up with heart, even when the world's noise tries to drown it out. Have you ever had a moment where someone's unexpected kindness bridged a divide in your life? Share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear how it changed you. Stick around for our next video, where we'll dive into another tale of resilience and connection that might just inspire your own breakthrough. Thanks from the bottom of my heart for watching and being part of this journey. See you soon. Take care.